Have you ever found yourself standing on the edge, staring into the vast unknown below? Did it ever happen to you that the world you once knew was suddenly snatched away, leaving you grasping for something, anything to hold on to? What would you do if everything you loved vanished in an instant, leaving behind only silence? Before everything changed, I was Emma, a woman whose life was filled with laughter and warmth. My family was my world, my anchor in the stormy seas of life. But now, it feels like I'm just a shadow of who I once was, a solitary figure standing at the edge of a cliff while the waves crash ferociously below, echoing the turmoil inside me. The world around me is full of color and sound, yet my existence is punctuated by silence, an eerie quiet that never fades. It's as if the accident took not just my family, but the very air I breathe. A car accident, such a simple phrase for something that shattered my world. One moment, a family road trip meant to heal old wounds, and the next, chaos, with screeching tires and shattering glass. I remember desperately trying to reach them through the wreckage, my heart thudding against my ribs as my screams were swallowed by the dark night. These images haunt my thoughts, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm trapped in a nightmare that refuses to end. How do you find meaning when everything that made life worth living is gone? This is the question I grapple with every single day. I find myself visiting their graves, whispering apologies against the cold, indifferent earth, searching for answers in the silence. My family's absence is a void that's impossible to fill, and yet I still stand at the edge, hoping for something, anything, that might help me step back from the brink. Will you come with me on this journey as I struggle to find some semblance of hope amidst the ruins of my life? Part 2. The memory crashes into me with the force of a tidal wave, threatening to pull me under. I see the road stretched out like a never-ending ribbon of gray, the sky a bruised purple, heavy with unspoken promises of rain. It was supposed to be a day of mending, a family road trip to stitch together the loose threads of our lives, but fate, with its cruel indifference, had other plans. I remember the laughter, a bright thread in the tapestry of our journey, suddenly snapped by the screech of tires and the sickening crunch of metal. Time fragmented, each second an eternity of chaos. Shattered glass became rain, falling in shimmering shards that cut through the fabric of reality. The car spun, a helpless marionette, and I was caught in its deadly dance, suspended between fear and disbelief. In the wreckage, I clawed through the twisted contours of what remained, my fingers raw and bloodied. My heart pounded a frantic rhythm, a desperate plea that went unanswered. My screams were swallowed by the night, leaving a haunting void that echoes still. Survivor's guilt tightened its grip around my soul. A serpent coiled in the shadows of my mind. Physically, bruises faded and bones mended, but deeper wounds festered, unseen. The world moved on, indifferent to my unraveling, leaving me stranded in a wasteland of silence. I stood at their graves, the earth cold and unyielding beneath my feet, whispering apologies to the wind, a futile attempt to bridge the chasm of my loss. In that moment, the weight of loneliness settled into my bones, and I understood the futility of my existence, questioning how to find meaning when everything I cherished had been swallowed by the void. The event had shattered me, leaving behind a fractured reflection of who I once was. This pain, raw and relentless, became the unwelcome companion in my solitary journey, a reminder of dreams forever lost. The edge of the cliff feels like home now, the relentless waves below, a mirror of my own relentless anguish. I stand here often, trapped between the longing for silence and the fear of what silence brings. It's as if the world has faded, leaving me in a purgatory where echoes of a happier past mock the emptiness of now. The accident was not just the end of my family, it was the end of me. Every closing of my eyes pulls me back to that day, the sharp screech of tires, a banshee's scream in my mind. Shattered glass, like stars falling in a universe that shouldn't fall, pierces through the flimsy walls of my sanity. My mind, a cruel director, replays the scene with relentless precision, a midnight film unending in its torment. I see their faces, twisted not in anger or fear, but in serene acceptance, a tableau of my own unfathomable guilt. I drift through days as a ghost, half tethered to this world, the other half chasing shadows in a faded memory. People speak to me, but their words dissipate like mist, leaving only their pity hanging in the air. I've tried to drown the whispers, the accusations in my mind with bottles and little pills, but they only add to the chaos, a cacophony of blame and helplessness swirling in my head. In my solitude, a music box sings the gentle lullaby of my childhood, its tune hauntingly beautiful, yet now unbearable. I've lost track of how many times I've thrown it across the room, only to retrieve it moments later, ashamed of my own cowardice. I sit in therapy where words are too clumsy, too weak to carry the weight of my grief. Each session is a war zone, a battlefield where I'm my own worst enemy, questioning every choice, every moment that led to this desolate now. Inside, my soul trembles like a leaf caught in a storm, each gust tearing at the fragile tendrils of hope still clinging on. Envisioning the darkness of the cliff's edge below is a dangerous comfort. Yet, perhaps in this numbing despair, there lies a bitter truth. Maybe, just maybe, the crashing waves are not a call to end it all, but a challenge to start anew. A challenge I am too broken to accept, but too haunted to ignore. Standing at the precipice, the ocean below echoed the chaos within me, a relentless tide crashing against the rocks of my grief. Here, at the brink, where life teetered precariously between presence and absence, I confronted the numbing void. The voices in my head, a cruel symphony, chanted blame with every gust of wind. There was a moment, a breath stolen from time, where the past threatened to pull me under. Yet, in that silent scream of despair, a figure emerged, a stranger whose eyes mirrored my own haunted reflection. Their whispered pain danced like shadows against the twilight, a reminder of shared human frailty. In this unspoken kinship, I found a flicker, a tremor of recognition that perhaps I was not alone in this desolate expanse. I began to seek solace, not in escape, but in connection. Each step felt like wading through a swamp of memories. Yet with each stumble, a hand reached out, a group of weary souls who knew the language of loss. In their stories, I started to see my own threads of hope woven through the tapestry of despair. Tentatively, I peeled back the layers of my fortress, allowing the therapist's words to seep into the cracks. Slowly, I reconnected with an old friend, a lifeline to the world I once knew. Together, we wandered through silence, punctuated by the occasional murmur of understanding. But still, the pendulum swung with cruel regularity. Moments of hope often gave way to the crushing weight of memory. The music box's melody, an incessant reminder of the rhythmic beat of a life interrupted. Yet there I stood, amidst the ruins, learning to breathe in the quiet spaces between notes. Though at times the struggle felt Sisyphean, I clung to the notion that meaning could be found within the ashes, that perhaps, in honoring the lives lost, not by mirroring their absence, but by illuminating my own path. I could forge a new narrative. So here I remain, a mosaic of fractured pieces, seeking the light that spills through the cracks, a testament to a journey unfinished, a flicker of hope amidst the shadows. Standing on the cliff's edge once more, I feel the wind's caress like a whisper of forgotten days. The sea below churns, a relentless reminder of life's unpredictable tides. In the vast silence, I find echoes of a time when laughter filled the spaces now occupied by grief. This place of despair has seen my darkest hour, a moment when stepping forward seemed the only escape. But standing here now, I sense a strange kinship with this precipice, both of us marred by time's ruthless passage, yet enduring still. The memories of that fateful day remain etched in my mind, a scar refusing to fade. The world shattered into a million pieces, and yet, amidst the wreckage, I found a fragile thread of continuity. The difference now is not in the absence of pain, but in the acceptance of its presence. It sits beside me, an unwelcome companion, yet one that teaches me to live with the echoes of what once was. Volunteering at the Trauma Recovery Center, I see fragments of my own story in others' eyes. It's not a balm, but a bridge to understanding that my family's loss isn't a solitary wound. In helping others, I find moments of clarity, fleeting yet profound, whispers of connection that remind me of life's delicate beauty. Returning to the cliff, flowers in hand, I choose not to mourn, but to celebrate the love that survives. My letter to them, written with tears and hope, promises not a life free of sorrow, but a life lived with intention. The scars remain, but they no longer bind me. Their presence, a testament to a love that refuses to vanish into the abyss. The sea remains constant and unyielding, a rhythmic whisper against the cliffside, echoing Emma's own steady, unending ache. As she stands at the precipice, her heart begins to weave old sorrows into the fabric of her soul, not as chains, but as threads lining the tapestry of who she is becoming. The cold wind tugs at her hair like the gentle urging of memories, no longer laden with unbearable loss, but softened by time's touch. She closes her eyes, and in that darkness, she feels the presence of her family, not as phantoms of anguish, but as gentle ripples across her consciousness, guiding her. Each wave below is a heartbeat, a testament to her survival, to a future forged from the ashes of her past. Amidst the silence, she surrenders to a soft understanding that grief and love are intertwined. Her heart, though scarred, is no longer a vessel of emptiness, but a cradle of resilience. She inhales deeply, tasting salt and hope. The pain is still there, a familiar companion now, but she knows she can carry it. It won't break her. Instead, it fuels her to be more for them and for herself. Emma turns from the brink, an unspoken promise echoing in her steps. The cliff behind her, the horizon before her. Have you ever been through something you've never told anyone about? Something that still lives in your chest? And if you feel like sharing it, we're here. Drop your story in the comments, even just a part of it. Every week, we turn one of your stories into a cinematic video just like this one. This is a safe space. Your voice matters. You're not alone.